Hello. Say hi, Saab friends. Where's your face? Your face is in here somewhere. Alright, so today I'm going to show you how to take your Saab sat nav and make it be able to use a typical GM style navigation CD. So, for starters, let's pop this radio on. Navigation is working. Let me show you the current CD. Version 2005. So this radio was pulled out of a 2008 Saab 9.3. I put it in my 2008 Saab 9.3 Aero. This car never came with a sat nav. If you're interested on how I installed it, well, go ahead, click up here. But basically, what I'm going to show you today is this CD and how to get rid of it. So this is the original Saab sat nav CD. You have the part number right here. And while this was great back then and for a couple years, well, unfortunately that CD is heavily outdated and it's not supported, at least really nothing in North America. So right now I have seen maps in Europe updated as far as 2018, but nothing remotely close for the United States. So ideally, gonna want to use a CD like this than one that's General Motors, mainly because this one's a lot more readily available than the Saabs. Face it, GM is still around, whereas guess what, Saab unfortunately is not. But this CD right here can be found in many different Saturn models, Outlook, View, GMCs like the Acadia, Sierra, Chevy Silverados, Cadillac Escalades. Now the trucks, the Sierra, Silverado, and the Escalade, I don't know if they used a CD or they may have actually gone with a hard drive version. Not sure, but I know for a fact they did use a similar style navigation radio like that. But in sum, we're going to be switching to this style CD because in North America they currently have updates to 2016 with, I believe, 2019 coming soon, or at least hopefully, but it's much more up to date than this factory Saab version of it. The only problem is that GM one doesn't work, at least not right now, with this factory sat nav unit. So I'm going to show you today how we are going to get that GM disc that's more supported in North America to work with your factory Saab sat nav radio. So without further ado, let's get started. Here is what we're going to be replacing into this Saab unit. This is the navigation control board from a Saturn View, which actually has a very similar unit like this, which I've used to swap in the disk drive here, and some other parts like the buttons, which will be a video in the future. But basically, this guy right here, which is buried deep down inside this unit, once we swap this out, we can go to a GM style navigation disc or the map disc and do away with that Saab one that we can no longer get map updates for. So while this isn't a absolute long-term solution, it's one that can get you map updates at least to 2016. So right now, I only have map updates from Saab from 2005. So that's pretty ridiculous. So hopefully by switching this, we can actually get this unit up to date on the map. So let's get started and tear it apart. So now we have the two ribbon cables transferred from the original Saab unit to the Saturn unit. Now we should be ready for reinstallation of the entire unit. So I ended up screwing back in the four 3/16 screws and reattaching the ribbon cable from this navigation module to the LCD screen up front here. That's the ejection system. That will be reinstalled with this screw. Right now it's just kind of loose, so I could wiggle this out. But there you have it. That is reinstalled. Now next up is this. I believe this is the soundboard. I could be wrong, and actually probably part of this is the soundboard and the rest is just the unit itself. So this guy right here that I'm hitting with my pinky, that'll get attached right there. There's 5 screws that hold this into place, and then I will also reinstall the GPS antenna with 1 Torx screw. Now I have the 5 4.5mm screws back into place. It's a good idea to triple check all of your connections electrical wise to make sure it's all connected, because it sucks to get all this reassembled and realize, hey, I forgot to install that ribbon cable or the ejection mechanism right here. So that's plugged in, 5 screws plugged in. This ribbon cable is connected down there. That ribbon cable is connected. These are all hooked up. Get that screw in, put the disc drive on top of here, push this back in, ensuring these two are connected and that the pins aren't off center whenever you pinch it, that it breaks or bends any of those pins. And then put the casing on. It should be good. Another thing to mention is that whenever you disassemble it, an impact gun, something small, not super powerful, comes in handy with tearing apart this, because there is a lot of screws. I'd say like 50 some screws. But whenever you reassemble it, don't use the impact gun. I have the attachment for it, but I'm just tightening it by hand. That's all you need. Now that all the electronic components, the more delicate stuff is done, that we're bolting together, and the only thing left is really screwing into the case, you can kind of bust out that impact if you press for time and shoot the bolts in. But again, definitely be careful because it's not that hard to strip some of these bolts. So there you have it, it's now reassembled, and now it's time to go throw this back in the Saab and see if the new navigation module from the Saturn works within this unit, and see if we can actually use a GM style map disc to make this thing work. So, well, let's go pop it in the Saab and see what happens. So now it's the moment of truth, hooking all of these wires up to this newly modified radio and seeing if it works. Key ready to go. Let's see what happens. Okay, so before it said Saab, now it says Delphi. Radio is off. Turn it on. Okay. So radio works. It's got like a compass thing kind of going on here. Okay, full radio. So the main thing here is obviously the navigation. So let's press navigation. I think menu. Okay. Insert map disc. Here we go. This is the General Motors disc. Part number right there. Let's go ahead and insert this in. There you have it. Look at that. Now we have a Saab sat-nav factory original equipment navigation radio installed in my Saab 9.3 Aero that never had this option, and then I swapped out the navigation module inside here from a Saturn view, and look at that, it actually works. And it's kind of cool that instead of whenever it loads up, it's instead of Saab, it says Delphi. It's kind of neat. I honestly thought it was going to say Saturn, because, well, that part was out of a Saturn. So let's actually check the version of this. And, well, let's start the car here, so then the lights turn on. So let's check the version. I think we got to go to this. 6.3. I don't know what 6.3 version means, but at least I know for a fact I can update this to 2016 maps, whereas the Saab disc, I was stuck at 2008. So here you have it. So I'm honestly super impressed that this modification actually worked. Honestly, I never thought this would even work. And it just goes to show you that even though Saab is dead and gone, there's a lot of other parts out there that you can continue to use to make your Saab last for a lifetime. And while this modification may not be the easiest, but it just shows you that General Motors parts, from example a Saturn view, do in fact work in your Saab 9.3. So I am super excited. Now I don't know what version 6.3 is as far as like year range, but it's a lot more recent than my Saab 9.3 disc was. That disc was from 2005, whereas this one is, I think, 2008, 2009. So that's not saying a lot, but I know for a fact I can at least get a map update for GM That's good for GMC Acadias, Cadillac Escalades, Sierras, Silverados, whatever GM. And it's good at least till 2016. Now, I don't know how updated this disc is from 2016 onward, but at least for now, it is updated. And for me, this was the most cost-effective way of going about it. Now, an aftermarket unit, obviously you'll get a heck of a lot more options. Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay, Samsung Play, whatever you might call it. You get so many more options, but it's big dinero. It's a lot of money. Whereas this radio, I paid $90. Unfortunately, it had that map disc read error, which I did have to replace the disc drive, but I did buy a Saturn View unit for another $60. So I'm in at $150, and I have a unique sat-nav unit that works in my Saab, but it does work 100%, and also it can use a more up-to-date GM map disc. So there you go. So hopefully this video proves to you that you can keep your Saab going for almost a lifetime, at least in theory, and hopefully this video helped you. So if it helped you out, be sure to like. I have plenty other Saab stuff out there and content in general, so be sure to subscribe. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, be sure to drop a comment down below. So I appreciate you watching. As always, catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
Please proceed to the highlighted route. Then the route guidance will start.